The 1920s is represented by this picture because the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution prohibits any United States citizen from being denied the right to vote on the basis of sex. It was ratified on August 18th, 1920, and this picture shows the I have voted sticker, which was used to show that you voted. This picture represents the 1920s because the Jazz Age was a feature of the 1920s, ending the Great Depression when jazz music and dance became popular.
That was good.
This picture represents the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission, that is an agency of the United States federal government. This was made in the 1930s of the New Deal program, and it holds the primary responsibility of enforcing the federal securities laws and regulating the securities industry. This picture represents the 1930s because of the New Deal program, and the FDIC is a New Deal program that the United States government to this day still uses. This picture represents the 1940s of World War I. This picture shows a young boy dressed up as a World War I soldier that was featured in one of the newspaper articles. This picture represents the 1940s because of the World War I poster asking for recruitments to come to the war.
This picture represents the 1950s because back in the 1950s, television was a big source of entertainment, and this happens to be a television from the 1950s, which you can see is much more older and not nearly as modernized as today's televisions. This picture here is the interstate highway sign that is often used and seen today. This picture signifies the 1950s because in the 1950s is when technology started advancing and citizens started using the highway and interstate systems. This picture here greatly signifies the 1960 Vietnam War. As you can see here on this car, there is ribbons and other major things from the Vietnam War representing the Vietnam War. This picture here represents the early start of the 1970s when the US dropped out of the Vietnam War. This picture here is of actual rock of the Berlin Wall that collapsed in 1989.